Hey everyone, I hope you're having an amazing day. For those of you who are big fans of the team and haven't yet subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe button. We are aiming to reach a goal of 22,000 subscribers, and your support would mean the world to us. Now, let's dive into the exciting news we've got for today. Earlier, the team made an exhilarating signing, and it's a pitcher, someone who is definitely going to make an impact. We'll get into more details about that shortly. Also, the Major League roster is almost finalized, with just a few players still fighting for a spot, and I'll give you some updates on that too. So, let's talk about this new pitcher. The team just signed him to a Major League deal worth $2 million, with an additional $500,000 available through incentives. Last season, he played for two different teams, posting a solid ERA of 3.19 over 44 appearances. That's nearly 100 innings pitched in total. What's even more impressive is his performance with one of those teams, where he posted a remarkable ERA of 2.01 across 12 games. He's now going to join another left-handed pitcher in the bullpen, which is a huge boost. There's a lot of excitement surrounding this move, but there are also some questions about how the team plans to use him. After all, he used to be a starting pitcher. Some speculate that he might return to that role, although it's been a couple of years since he last started a game, back in 2023. While it's clear that the team brought him in to help in the bullpen, there's still curiosity about whether he could be called upon as a spot starter. Given the current situation with the rotation and the fact that another player will start the season on the injured list, there's a real possibility he could step in as a starter for a few games if needed. In other news, two players have been confirmed to start the season on the injured list. This is a bit of a concern, but it doesn't appear to be anything too serious. One of the players just needs to build up his innings before the season begins, since he hasn't had much pitching action during spring training. This should help get him back to full strength. The starting rotation is starting to take shape, and there are a few standout players to talk about. One pitcher has really stood out during spring training, earning a spot in the rotation over another pitcher who was also impressive. The second player had an outstanding spring, but the first pitcher showed more consistency and has been drawing comparisons to a well-regarded ace, which is certainly promising. Last season, this pitcher faced some significant struggles, finishing with a rather high earned run average. However, this spring, his performance has been night and day, and his early outings were nothing short of impressive, even though his last two appearances were less spectacular. Still, what he showed on the mound was enough to convince the coaching staff that he can contribute as a reliable option in the rotation. As a result, he's been named the fourth starter for now. As for another pitcher, his spring training has been nothing short of phenomenal. He's pitched in several games and posted an impressively low ERA over a substantial number of innings. His remarkable performance has become one of the feel-good stories of the spring. It's clear that his success will translate to success for the team. Both players, who were initially expected to be on the outside looking in when it came to the rotation, are now firmly in the mix as we approach opening day. They'll join the previously mentioned pitcher as part of the starting five. Unfortunately, one key pitcher will be out for the entire season, which is a huge loss for the team, especially given how well he finished last season. The rotation now looks solid, with a few familiar names and some exciting newcomers. As we discussed before, the absence of Garrett Cole this season is a massive blow to the team. Last year, he was absolutely lights out, finishing his last 12 starts with an ERA of 2.70. There's also a lot of attention on other pitchers like Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, and Marcus Stroman, who are considered top contenders for the rotation. However, there was some uncertainty surrounding Stroman's spot, and now it looks like he's secured the third spot in the rotation, which is definitely an interesting development. Unfortunately, Luis Gil will also be out for a significant amount of time, starting the season on the 60-day injured list. That being said, there are some bright spots. One player who really impressed this spring was Austin Wells. I've talked about Ben Rice and Jason Dominguez a lot recently, but Wells truly stole the spotlight. He's already hit 6 home runs and driven in 12 RBIs, with a batting average of .372 and an OPS of 1.263. That's an outstanding spring performance. Last year, I predicted he could hit 30 home runs, but he ended up with 13. I think he could push for 25 this season. While I'm not sure he'll reach 30, that would be fantastic if he did, and he has the potential to do so. Wells has always been a great hitter, and now, as he becomes a more competent catcher, he's combining his offensive skills with a powerful bat. That being said, we should keep in mind that Kyle Higashioka once hit 8 home runs in spring training, and we all saw how that turned out. So, while Wells' 6 home runs and 1.263 OPS are certainly impressive, we'll have to wait and see if he can keep it up during the regular season. That said, I'm really excited for Wells' future in 2025. Another one of the best stories of this spring, alongside Carrasco's performance, is that of J.C. Escarra. His journey has been incredibly inspiring. He's worked as an Uber driver and even as a substitute teacher at one point. He's earned a spot on the roster and has shown that he's not only a solid catcher, but also a strong offensive presence. With 3 home runs and 8 RBIs, his spring batting average is .320, with an OPS of .898 as a lefty. Escarra is 29, and his story is truly one of perseverance. It's great to see him get the opportunity to play in the majors after spending much of his career in the minors. Now, he's part of the organization for opening day. What an incredible story. He's finally going to get the chance to play in the big leagues, and I couldn't be happier for him. As for other roster updates, the final list of players will be confirmed in the coming days. The team has a pretty good idea of who will make the cut, but things can change quickly in this business, and you never know what could happen. A lot of fans, myself included, think that Oswald Peraza might not make the team. He struggled this spring, and while he started strong with his first 10 to 12 at-bats, the rest of his performance was disappointing, leaving him with a batting average of .170. I've always been a big fan of his, especially when it comes to his defense, but I've noticed that he tends to start slow. He had a slow start in 2023, and I believe the same thing happened in 2022. On the bright side, in the second half of last season, he turned things around, putting up an OPS over .800 in Scranton. He finished the last 3 months with an OPS of around .814. Peraza is definitely a guy who needs time to heat up, but he needs to show more consistency from the start. It's also worth noting that Pablo Reyes has had an outstanding spring and could be a candidate to make the roster instead of Peraza. Now 31 years old, Reyes has a .293 batting average this spring, with a few home runs. He even hit a home run against the Mets today and has an OPS of .875. Last season, Reyes hit .287 in 64 games. Maybe the organization is considering him as a potential option, especially with his strong spring performance. Reyes is a guy who doesn't strike out often. He was only struck out 21 times last season, and he stole 7 bases. He's been a solid contributor this spring, and while his defense isn't quite as good as Peraza's, he's a strong option to consider. If the team opts for Reyes instead of Peraza, I wouldn't be upset, as Reyes has consistently outperformed Peraza this spring. However, it would still be disappointing for Peraza, given that he's had the opportunity to seize the starting third base job. Peraza has shown that he can be a solid defender, but he hasn't quite reached the level of the other player mentioned. Still, he's a good option, and if I were in the team's shoes, I wouldn't mind seeing Reyes make the roster. It's just unfortunate that Peraza hasn't been able to take advantage of the opportunity he was given. One player has definitely made the most of his chance and stood out during this spring training period. There's another competitor who could very well secure a spot on the roster, especially with one of the mentioned players likely heading out. The coach has mentioned that some changes might be in store, so it'll be interesting to see how things unfold and who makes the cut. There have also been discussions about the team keeping an eye on players who are out of options and might be waived by other teams after spring training. It'll be interesting to see if the team can add anyone under those circumstances. For now, it looks like one player might secure a spot over another, but we'll have to wait and see how everything plays out. As we approach the final stretch of spring training, there's still plenty of uncertainty about the roster and how things will unfold. One thing is clear: the competition for spots has been fierce, and the coaching staff has some tough decisions ahead. As we've seen throughout the spring, the team is in a strong position to make some exciting moves, especially with the younger talent stepping up and showing what they're capable of. The storylines around the team's key players are developing fast, and there's a genuine sense of optimism heading into the regular season. We've also seen some unexpected performances from players who weren't necessarily on the radar before spring training started. These underdogs have really made their mark, and it's a testament to their hard work and determination. For example, J.C. Escara's rise from working as an Uber driver and substitute teacher to securing a spot on the roster is nothing short of inspirational. His story is one that resonates with many, and it highlights the unpredictable nature of professional sports. Sometimes, the most unexpected players come through when the team needs them the most. Another standout player, Austin Wells, has shown that he has the potential to be a star this season. While his performance in spring training has been exceptional, the real test will come once the regular season begins. His ability to hit for power, combined with his improved defensive skills behind the plate, makes him a huge asset for the team. However, just like with any player, the challenge now is to maintain that level of performance over a full season. The team's confidence in Wells is evident, and he's earned the opportunity to be a key part of their roster. At the same time, the team will also need to keep an eye on some of the more established players and make sure they are ready for the start of the season. Players like Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, and Marcus Stroman will all play critical roles in the rotation. But there's no doubt that the absence of Garrett Cole and Luis Gil leaves a gap that still needs to be addressed. The coaching staff will need to ensure that the rest of the pitching staff is prepared to step up and take on bigger roles, especially with some of the younger arms likely making their way into the mix. One player who could be key in filling that gap is the new pitcher the team recently signed. While there's speculation that he might be used as a starter, his primary role will likely be in the bullpen. His experience as a starter gives the team flexibility, and with the rotation currently in flux, he could be called upon to start if needed. It's still unclear how the coaching staff will utilize him, but there's hope that he'll be a valuable piece in the team's efforts to secure wins throughout the season. His performance in spring training has been solid, and he's shown that he can handle the pressure, which will be crucial as the team moves into the regular season. Of course, it's not just the pitchers who are making waves. The team's lineup is looking stronger than ever, and the addition of new faces will certainly help bolster the offense. Players like Ben Rice and Jason Dominguez have also impressed during the spring, and while they may not be the headlines yet, their contributions could prove to be vital in the long run. With the team's depth, there's confidence that they'll be able to weather any challenges that come their way, whether it's injuries or just the typical grind of the season. The competition for roster spots is far from over, and it's likely that some of these players will continue to battle it out in the final days leading up to opening day. While there are a few players who seem like locks to make the team, others are still fighting for their place, and the coaching staff will have to make some tough decisions. This is the time of year when a roster truly starts to take shape, and the next few days will be crucial for those still vying for a spot. In the meantime, the team is focused on getting ready for the regular season, ensuring that everyone is in top form and ready to hit the ground running. Whether it's the veterans or the newcomers, everyone has a role to play. The goal is clear: to be the best team they can be, no matter the challenges that lie ahead. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. The New York Yankees are reportedly eyeing one of Major League Baseball's brightest stars in an attempt to elevate their already formidable lineup. Mookie Betts, a perennial All-Star and World Series champion with the Los Angeles Dodgers, has long been regarded as one of the most talented players in the game. His combination of batting prowess, fielding excellence, and leadership on and off the field has made him a coveted asset, and now the Yankees are reportedly looking to bring him to the Big Apple. Betts' resume is nothing short of impressive. With 7 Silver Slugger awards, 6 Gold Gloves, and 3 World Series titles, he's proven time and time again that he can perform under pressure. He's also been named the American League MVP and ranks second in wins above replacement WAR among active position players, behind only Mike Trout. In short, Betts is a generational talent, and the Yankees are keen to add his skills to their roster. The possibility of the Yankees acquiring Betts comes at a time when the Dodgers may be open to making changes. Betts signed a 12-year, $365 million contract extension with Los Angeles in 2020, making him one of the highest-paid players in the league. However, with recent shifts in the Dodgers roster and some uncertainty surrounding their future direction, Betts' future with the team could be in flux, opening the door for a potential blockbuster deal with the Yankees. From a strategic standpoint, Betts would be a perfect fit for the Yankees. Not only would he strengthen their already potent offense, but his defensive abilities would bring a new level of stability to their outfield or infield. Having excelled at both second base and outfield throughout his career, Betts is a versatile player who could slot into various positions, giving the Yankees the flexibility they need to adjust their lineup. While rumors continue to swirl, one thing is clear. Mookie Betts is one of the most sought-after players in MLB. Whether or not the Yankees can strike a deal to bring him to New York remains to be seen, but with his all-around talent, Betts would undoubtedly be a game-changer for the franchise, propelling them toward yet another championship run. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.